Welcome. Let's settle for the details. Inflation for the month of May has decreased to 23.1%. This represents a decline of 1.95 percentage points from that of the month of May, which was at 25%. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, food inflation declined by 4.2% to hit 22.6%, while non-food inflation increased to 23.6%. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina-Enim addressing the press earlier today.
In the month of May 2024, the Consumer Price Index stood at 220.0 relative to 178.7 the same time 2023. In May 2024, the headline Consumer Price Index stood at 220.0 relative to 178.7. Given these relative indices, year-on-year inflation for the month of May 2024 was 23.1%. This literally means that between May 2023 and May 2024, prices of goods and services went up by 23.1%. Prices of goods and services between the month of May 2023, a year on to the month of May 2024, went up by 23.1%. This indicates a slowdown of 1.9 percentage points relative to the year-on-year inflation that was recorded in the month of April 2024. In the month of April 2024, year-on-year inflation stood at 25.0, indicating a 0.8 percentage point drop relative to the figure that was recorded in March 2024, and we've seen for the second consecutive time a drop in the year-on-year inflation by 1.9 percentage points to the current year-on-year inflation for May 2024 standing at 23.1%. On a month-on-month basis, given the index of 220.0 for May 2024 relative to April 2024 index of 213.3, month-on-month inflation for May 2024 was 3.2%, simply indicating that between April 2024 and May 2024, prices of goods and services went up by 3.2%. This 3.2% that we've recorded for the month of May 2024 is a rise from 1.8% that was recorded in April 2024 to 3.2% for May 2024.
We are joined by an agronomist who is also a lecturer at the Department of Crop Science at the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Kwadwo Kusi-Amoah, to explore why food inflation keeps declining. Thank you very much, Doc, for joining us. We have seen food inflation decline from March, where it was 29.6%, to May, where it is now 22.6%. This is a positive development, you'd agree, right?
Yes, I will agree to that.
Right. Why do you think we keep seeing a decline in food inflation?
Okay, so if you have taken notice of the production trends in Ghana, what we see is that almost every year from January to March, you realize that prices increase. And the reason is that about 90% of farmers in Ghana normally rely on the rains before they all do their production. So vegetable farmers, staple farmers like maize farmers, plantain farmers, cassava farmers, they all rely on the rains. So from December that we start the dry season to about March, only the few people who do irrigation and some bit of places where we have some form of rains is where the whole Ghana is going to rely on, for food. So prices automatically will increase when there is no food in the market. So from December to March, every year is like that, with the exception of some few crops that we harvest during that time. For example, onions. So December, January, February, March, you realize that onions in the market prices are okay. But from around May to around August, onions are expensive. So it is a year thing. It's a yearly thing, and our production trends is also part of it. Because if we are not producing around that time, the little we are producing is what we are depending on every year.
Right. We've also seen the component of transportation in the non-food inflation go up. Do you think that this could negate the gains food inflation has made?
Yes, definitely. So when you go to the market, the reality on the ground is that most market women, I'm saying women because they are the ones who are normally found in the market. These people will tell you that transportation costs have increased, and automatically they can increase the prices of food based on the transportation cost. But these days, it is not only transportation cost that is that has been added to the food prices. There are other factors. If you have realized, let me give you a typical example. Now, the seeds of tomatoes that we were buying at 85 cedis some time ago, we are now buying that one at 195 Ghana cedis. Cabbage seeds that we were buying around 150 Ghana cedis, now we are buying it at 350 Ghana cedis because these things are imported. And because the dollar is on the rise, definitely it is going to affect input cost. And if farmers realize input costs, they will definitely add it to the cost of food they are selling in the market. Market women also add it. So there are different dynamics to this. It is not only transportation, but other factors like the inputs they are using, like seeds, like fertilizers, are also on the rise. So definitely it can affect it.
So we shouldn't expect a decline in prices going forward, even though food inflation is, coming down.
No, we should expect that. One thing is that from March ending, most Ghanaian farmers have started production. So before you realize by the end of July, most of these crops are going to be in glats in the market. So we are going to have peppers, garden eggs, and all that in the market. And when these foods are in a glat, definitely prices decreases. Everybody wants to sell it and go home, so they decrease the price, and then so definitely it will go down. But if we still have increase of fuel that will affect the transportation costs, definitely it is still going to be decreased, but we are not going to have an appreciative decrease. So it is true that we should expect decline because those who started cultivating in March, by the end of March or early April, by July they will start harvesting. And there are some of them that will last about 3 months, will last about 4 months. They will start harvesting them very soon. So prices of food will generally go down, irrespective of transportation costs being increased.
Right. So meaning you are also projecting a further decline in food inflation going forward?
Yes. Yes, please.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Kwadwo Amoah. He is a lecturer at the Crops Science Department at the University of Cape Coast, and he is also an agronomist. Meanwhile, finance professor at Andrews University, Williams Pepa, is projecting a further drop in inflation in the coming months. Speaking on the marketplace earlier today, Professor Pepa said despite a rise in transport fares, its impact will not significantly affect some items such as food.
If you look at what has happened from May 2023 to May 2024, we can see that the rate of growth or the speed that prices in Ghana or items in Ghana were going up has reduced. It does not mean that prices are not going up. Prices are going up, but not at that speed that it were in May 2023. So in May 2023, around 42.2%, and now dropping to 23.1%. Even if you look at April 2024, we see a 1.9% drop. So this is a point to, a form of ensuring economic stability. However, based on the targets set by the government of Ghana, inflation should go down a little bit. And in my perspective, this has been the trend for Ghana. Between April, May, June, July, we see inflation dropping. All because we have the food basket. That's the time we have some kind of food commodities on the market. The impact of the cost of transport, if you look at the data, has not significantly affected a lot of items. If you look at it, though local production or produce inflation went up by 24.7%, and the imported one reduced. So in terms of the real impact of the transportation, if you ask me, it's going to reflect in prices from June, July, thereafter. Just a 1 month interval, we will not see the real impact. I'm sure within the month of June, I've seen some posts going up with some food items being increased like 300% and 150%. And let's wait and see what will be the inflation figure. But the anticipation is that probably inflation may peak maybe from somewhere June, July, September thereafter. That is where we will really see the impact of the increase in transport.
Away from inflation-related stories, the Institute of Economic Affairs is calling on governments to establish an independent fiscal council to promote sustainable economic management. At a media briefing in Accra, the Director of Research at the IEA, Dr. John Kwache, emphasized that this council would serve as a crucial watchdog over the nation's fiscal policy.
The Institute of Economic Affairs has strongly advocated for the establishment of an independent fiscal council in Ghana. According to the Director of Research at the IEA, Dr. John Kwache, this move will help the nation achieve its fiscal target in the medium to long term.
You need these, frameworks in place such that you create a certainty with regards to fiscal policy. And then the kind of discipline that you also need. And then also, you see, you have some goals, macroeconomic goals. And if you put these, rules in place, the framework in place, they will help you to best achieve those targets, those goals that you have in mind. If in the absence of the rules and the framework, you are likely to, miss those targets, and then it creates all kinds of problems for you. That's macroeconomic instability in various forms. And that is why you need to hem fiscal policy within some kind of rules. And then you create an oversight framework also for it.
Dr. Kwache further highlights the challenges of the current fiscal rules.
There's an expenditure rule in the form of the Appropriations Act. The Parliament sets a ceiling. Well, they approve the expenditure for the government for the year. So it's like a ceiling. You get me? That's how much government can spend. So if they were to monitor it closely, then it means that's an expenditure rule already. But it is because they don't monitor it, and often there's overrun, and nobody is held responsible. Nobody is sanctioned for it. And so it occurs with that kind of impunity. So we are saying that, Parliament should also, make sure that they enforce the Appropriations Act.
He emphasized that an independent fiscal council could have shielded the economy from seeking IMF bailouts.
I don't think that, things would have gotten so bad. You see, because you have a rule in place, and if somebody is also helping to make sure, monitor that you obey the rules, okay, you won't have this excessive borrowing, excessive deficits, and the consequences, macroeconomic instability. And so you get into a problem where the international market is challenging your policy credibility, okay? So when you get to that point, no matter what you try to do, even if you inform the markets that I am going to undertake the most severe fiscal adjustments, they may not even believe you. So they'll say, I'll go to the IMF. The IMF will impose that kind of discipline on you, and then we can be sure that you will conform.
The IEA argued that creating a fiscal council would be a critical reform measure serving as an independent oversight body and providing unbiased analysis and recommendations on fiscal policy.
In the meantime, the IMF will in the coming days set a date to meet on Ghana's second program review and approve some $360 million for the country. This was after the Official Creditor Committee formally informed the IMF about the debt restructuring deal reached with Ghana. There is more in this report.
Joy Business is learning that the Official Creditor Committee, in an email, formally communicated to the IMF about this development and the impact on the whole debt restructuring and sustainability going forward. Now, based on this development, Ghana has now met all the conditions needed for the IMF board to meet on the country and approve the second tranche funding to government. The fund was initially looking at financing assurance from these bilateral creditors, but it looks like the IMF now has more than what they were even looking forward to aid this meeting on the country. This development will also trigger other donor funding for Ghana in the coming days.
You're still watching Business Live with me, Emma Davis. We'll take a quick break. We'll return with the Joy Business Fund. On that note, we end Business Live today. I am Emma Davis. For more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good evening.